Okay, so now let's talk about getting in front of your customer and reaching your customer when they're in their moment. We've talked about the type of video ad you might need for the different type of customer you need to get in front of. And now we need to get that video ad in front of your customer when they're ready to make a purchase, or at least make that next decision to move along the buying cycle with you and your company. Okay, so let's talk about it and get into a bit more detail. Here's the three mindsets again. We've got the window shopper, we've got the in-store shopper, and we've got the checkout shopper. They're on their buying cycle. They're going closer and closer to buying your products and your services. Now, we've got so many different targeting options available to us, including inside of AdWords. We're going to start building your ad campaigns for your YouTube ads. And if you have a look at these different types of options, you can bracket your audience by age. You can do it by gender as well. You can say, I just want to advertise to males or females. You can do it by their location, from a zip code all the way up to an international campaign. You can do it by device, mobile, tablet, desktop. You can do it by time of day. You can schedule your ads to go at different points during the day. You can do it based on a household income. I think this is only available to certain countries right now, but I mean, household income, you can go from like the top 10% of the income earners down to the bottom 50% if you wish to. There's all these different parameters you can put in place. You can do it based on parental status as well. Do they have kids or not? You can build similar audiences, which is rather like lookalike audiences on Facebook. You can do affinity audiences, which are rather like interest groups on Facebook. You can do channel placements. You can advertise your videos in front of other channels' videos. So if I wanted to get my videos in front of all of Gary Vaynerchuk's videos, as long as he has his advertising turned on, I can do that. I can advertise by keywords. When someone's searching for certain videos on YouTube, or if they've recently been searching for those keywords, then we can get in front of those people as well. It can be down to topics. So if you wanted to run your ads in front of people when they're searching certain types of videos or watching certain types of videos, which will be bracketed into different types of topics, and of course you can run your ads there as well. You can choose the individual videos if you want. So that would be a video placement where you literally select the URL of the videos you want to get in front of, and you can run your ads in front of those very specific ads if you wish, or specific videos if you wish to as well. You can do it via in-market audiences. So Google's tracking all this data all the time, and they're looking at your behavior. And if you've recently increased your behavior around a particular topic, you'll probably fall into an in-market audience. So if you've recently been looking up loads of information about your next trip away or your next holiday away, for example, then Google will see your behavior online and put you into an in-market audience of people that are likely to be traveling soon. And of course, that means as us as advertisers, we can use that data. But there's so many brackets of people looking up these different things. There's even ones for like people looking up different CRMs. So if you're looking up lots of different CRM options, then you'll fall into an in-market audience of people looking up CRMs. And so it makes your life very easy as an advertiser if you want to get in front of that type of audience. Likewise, you can do website remarketing, which is exactly the same as website retargeting on Facebook. And you can do video remarketing, which is very similar to video retargeting on Facebook as well, where you can say those people that have been to my website for website remarketing, or those people that have watched one of my videos for video remarketing, you can get back in front of that audience should you so wish. So many different options available here, so many others as well that haven't been mentioned here. So there's so many different targeting options available to you, but I'm going to show you which ones you should probably focus on first. Likewise, there are two different types of video ads that you probably want to pay attention to. You've got the in-stream ads, which are the ads that appear before you're about to watch other videos. So you've probably seen these before. They're often called pre-roll ads. You press play on a video, and as soon as that video plays, a pre-roll ad pops up before, and you have to wait for that 5 seconds before you can skip the ad button. Now, typically, most people get quite frustrated by these ads, but as long as you create an ad that's actually useful for your audience at a time where they would like to see your ad, and you provide them with good quality content, you'll see the comments that you get are typically very positive. Like, I love seeing this ad, this is amazing, I love the content you shared with it. Not, I hate you, which is typically most YouTube comments on the internet. So you've got in-stream, and then you've also got discovery. Discovery ads are the ones that appear at the top of the search results or on the right-hand side. At the time of filming this particular video, then discovery ads where you have your ads appear at the top of the search results are currently disabled due to recent issues that YouTube have had with brands being kind of like seeing their ads in different places, which is completely stupid anyway. Anyway, they've temporarily paused those types of ads, so you can't get your videos appearing at the top of the search results, but they'll be coming back soon once Google have fixed the algorithm. But you can get your videos appear on the right-hand side of other videos as well, and they can work particularly well as well. So different types of ads. In-stream ads, funnily enough, you only pay when someone watches past 30 seconds or decides to click to your website. So you're only really paying for a very engaged viewer. Whereas with discovery ads, you pay as soon as someone decides to click the thumbnail of your video to play it. So you pay for engagement with YouTube advertising. Now, I'm going to walk you through a marathon moment. I ran the marathon, not this year, just gone, about 13 months ago. And when I ran the marathon, I actually went through a scenario where one of my friends had to pull out late and I took his place instead. And it was for a charity. One of my friends unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And so we were running this, I was running this for this charity. And I said, yes, of course, I'll do it. How long have I got again? And what I realized is that I had 15 weeks to go. And I was like, wow, okay, that's not that long, I don't think. So I Googled how to do a marathon. And one of the first blog posts I read was by someone saying, whatever you do, if you've never run a marathon before, which is me, do not even attempt it unless you've got 25 weeks of training already inside you. And I was like, wow, okay, I've lost 10 weeks already, which is not good. So I ended up completing the marathon. Didn't get the best time ever, but I did the marathon. That's all you need to know. Actually, funnily enough, when I finished the marathon, there's this leaderboard that kind of shows the world record that had actually been broken that year for the marathon. And I did a quick calculation in my head that the guy who ran it and won, he was a Kenyan, he managed to run the marathon and at a time that if he had run the marathon, had an hour's sleep and run it again at the same speed, he would have still beaten me. So I don't think marathons are my forte. Anyway, I had this marathon moment where I was frantically trying to work out how to run a marathon, limited time, hadn't done much training, and I needed to understand how to run a marathon as quickly as possible. Now, let me walk you through some of these companies that could have advertised to me and missed their opportunity. So let's look at Nike running shoes, for example. I needed to buy some marathon running shoes. That's desperately what I needed because I didn't have any at the time, and I realized that if I'm going to run a marathon, I need the right footwear. That's probably the most important thing to get going. So I was in a stage where I was like, what are the best running shoes for marathons? I was immediately in an in-store stage. I almost wanted to walk in store and ask people, but I went online, I typed in, what are the best running shoes for marathons? A logical first thing to type into Google and also into YouTube as well. And likewise, if I was in my ready to buy stage, this is the point where I'd done a bit of research and now I knew that I wanted the Nike variation, but I was doing Nike versus. That's the sort of thing I'd type in, Nike versus, or marathon shoes, Nike versus, ... and let the predictor on YouTube tell me which other marathon shoes were good to potentially look at. And lo and behold, I zeroed in and it was like Nike free run distance review. Those are the sorts of keywords I was typing in. And I was getting really, really good information on Google and YouTube for this type of thing, and I made a purchase there and then, and used, and kind of the shoes were with me the very next day. So I was in a mode where I was ready to make a purchase. I didn't need much selling. I was just like, which one should I buy? Great, I'll buy those and just get on with it. And Nike was a good brand that I trusted in as well. But likewise, if it was earlier on in the process, if I decided to run this marathon and made the commitment 9 months before I had to really start thinking about my training, then I might have typed in something like, how do I run a marathon? Now in all these scenarios, at different stages for me, then Nike could have advertised to me in different ways. If I was typing in something like Nike free run distance review, they could probably just have an ad in front of me that says, here are the best shoes for marathon running, here's where you can buy them, here's click here and you get a guarantee, for example, or whatever it is that you might provide with the shoes. Or maybe there's a bonus you could provide for people that are running the London Marathon. Something along those lines that makes me think, okay, great, I'll buy it. If Nike realized that I was typing in what are the best running shoes for marathons, then they should definitely be advertising to me there as well. But you could probably go a little bit more indirect. So if they were typing in something like, if I was typed in, how do I run a marathon? That's the perfect time for Nike to get in front of me because they're like, great, well, let me give you some tips about how to run a marathon. And one of those tips is get your footwear right. And here's the shoes that we recommend. So you can just tailor the content to really fit the customer, understand the user in mind, understand what they're looking for, make a video that resonates with that, and of course, get your sales message in there as well. And of course, if you're getting in front of me when I'm a window shopper in the early stages of running a marathon, then at that stage, you probably need to use some sort of schema violation. If I'm ready to buy, I don't need any of that. Just tell me where to go and buy. That's all I need. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, if you put this into a different scenario, let's say, for example, instead of Nike shoes as a product, we looked at service. And let's take Jackie, who's a sports physio. She's obviously made up. Now, when Jackie is here, let's say, for example, she's got these 3 different types of customers that she could potentially get in front of. I know as a potential marathon runner now, I know that I should have engaged with a physio as soon as I knew I had a marathon to run, but I didn't. I only got in touch with her as soon as I started feeling pain and aches in my legs when I was doing my training and thinking I might not actually complete the marathon. That's the time that I got in front of her, but Jackie could have got her message in front of me a lot earlier. So my search was best sports physio in, and where I'm based is Reigate in the UK, I would type in best sports physio in Reigate. Now, if you're a physio, of course, you should be advertising there. That makes a lot of sense to be advertising when people are looking for you, of course. But that's when all the other physios will be advertising as well, and therefore it's likely to be a little bit more expensive. So, what if I was to type in, which I did, how to avoid lower back pain when running? Now, again, Jackie should have potentially been advertising to me there, but her messaging would have been different. She could have thought, right, if I'm going through that process of like having lower back pain, maybe she should give me some really good advice about how to like loosen up my back before I run, or things I should consider, 3 things I should consider. And the third thing again being, maybe you should come in for like a back MOT, like a back test, and make sure that your back's okay before you run your marathon or before you do any more running. Because I can, if it's Jackie doing this ad, she could potentially say that I can really help you identify if you've got an underlying issue, and if you have, I can fix it. So why don't you come down to the clinic, and maybe there's some sort of bonus that you can put into that pitch at that point. So as a marathon runner, I'm like, wow, I really need a physio, great. And oh great, you're doing a special offer, great, I'm in. So you're trying to kind of get people earlier in the buying cycle when they should be considering you. And also, even if they don't buy then, when you do your remarketing and their pain does come up, obviously they're going to be very keen to talk to you because you've got your message in front of those people. Likewise, Jackie could have even considered, when I started typing in things like, how do I run a marathon? Maybe she could have given that information to me. Being a sports physio, I'm sure she sees loads of marathon runners and beginner marathon runners as well. And maybe she could have put together some sort of training program to help me with my marathon running. If she said, here's what you should do, here's your training regime, here's what you should eat, and here's how you should take care of your body. And by the way, if you really want to be careful about running your marathon so you don't have any problems with injury, come and see me. And again, those sorts of things could even be a paid program, and then the physio be part of that process as well. So hopefully that makes sense. You can get in front of your customers at different stages. And of course, we're just taking different types of businesses for my marathon moment. But when you talk about your customer moments, think about the different ways you can get in front of those audience members as well, and think about how you can resonate with them as well. So now let's talk about your another company that could have got in front of me, or a different type of business that could have got in front of me. And this was hotels in Greenwich. Now Greenwich is where the start line is for the London Marathon, and I hadn't even considered staying at a hotel the night before my marathon. But then I really wanted to, but by the time I found out that I wanted to, they're all sold out. So obviously they don't have that much of an issue with selling out their hotel rooms, so maybe they don't have a problem with advertising. But again, it's a good idea to think about this from your perspective as well, as when you can advertise to the right audience. So let's take this audience again, and let's say, for example, I might type in something like hotels near the start line of the marathon. Now, when I typed that in, it was too late for me. All the marathon rooms have been taken already. All those hotels in Greenwich have been taken already. But I mean, that's the sort of thing I'll be typing in. But maybe I might type in something like 2 weeks before the actual start of the marathon, the night before the marathon. I might type in something like, what should I eat the night before a marathon? That's sort of information that I need to know at that stage. And so that's probably a good time for hotels to be advertising to me, because they can say, hey look, did you know that hotel rooms get packed and busy very early on? We do a marathon special the night before. We'll have a special evening where we can help you eat the right food, and you have a session with our physio as well to have a massage before the run, something along those lines. Maybe there's a marathon VIP package they could put together, put a high price on it. If I see that, I'm likely to go and want to go and buy it as well. Now, likewise, I might even type in something like, what is tapering? Now, a hotel would never think of a keyword like that to advertise on. But what you're doing here is you're trying to think about the customer's moment. I look for tapering advice, which is where you start slowing down your training before the marathon, just to make sure your muscles and everything are completely ready and you're kind of race ready. But that's the sort of thing I start researching about a month before the marathon itself. And likewise, your customers will be going through similar processes as well. There's going to be a certain buying cycle, a certain thing they ask themselves as they go through towards making a purchase. And for me, when it came to thinking about buying a hotel, not that tapering has got anything to do with hotels, but at the same time of when I consider tapering, I should probably also be considering hotels. It's like you could imagine the same thing with a wedding. There's a certain logical state of affairs when it comes to the wedding day. You've got the venue to begin with first, then you maybe got photographer, maybe you've got flowers, cars, you've got suits, whatever it is that sequence goes in. At certain stages, as a wedding service provider, or if you provide certain things to the wife and husband to be, then when it comes to that moment in time, you might think, right, 4 months before they make a decision to come with us, or a month before they come and make a decision to come with us as the florists, they might be looking at the wedding photographer. Let's advertise on a keyword like wedding photographer, because then we get in front of them before our competition get in front of them, and we can get a really good message in front of them. Sure, they're still a window shopper for becoming a client of yours as a florist, but you know that they're going to have to buy some sort of flowers from somewhere, and if you can get your message in front of all the rest of the competition first with really good advice, when that time comes to make that decision, they're going to go with you as a florist. That's the way it works. You want to get in front of people at the right time with the right message, providing the right offer. And the right time isn't always when they're kind of ready to make a purchase. It could be earlier than that to get them to know you prior to making that purchase, so it's inevitable they come and buy from you. Okay, so hopefully you get some ideas here about how you can get in front of the right customers at the right time. Now, when it comes to these three different types of audience, or three different types of customers or shoppers that you want to get in front of, what I want to do now is talk about which campaigns I would put together. Because if we're to look at these three different types of people, really they're going through these 4 moments that we talked about earlier. The I want to watch what I'm into people, the I want to know moments, the people that want to learn information, I want to do something, maybe they want tutorials, and then maybe people that are out there looking to buy information, buy certain things and need more information before they make a purchase. And so when we look at this and we look at the different types of customers, then keywords are a great way of advertising to people that are already in the research mode. Using keywords, saying, right, what is it they're typing in at that moment in time and how do I get in front of them? Keyword campaigns are really powerful for that. You can use topics as well. Topics of certain videos. If they're looking at certain videos around certain topics, then that's a good time to advertise that audience as well. Or maybe there's certain videos they're watching and you can advertise your video in front of those other videos. That video placements is a great way of advertising to get in front of this type of mindset. So if you know your audience or your customers tend to be people that are looking for information, searching for you out, looking like typing in keywords that would be like, I'm looking for something like this, or I'm typing in keywords that would resonate with what it is you have to provide, then keywords, topics, and video placements are great ways of getting in front of that type of traffic. Now, what happens if someone's ready to buy? If your customers are kind of like going to YouTube just to make the last minute check to make sure they're making a good investment decision, if they're ready to make a purchase, then in-market audiences are good. People that have recently increased their activity around a certain type of topic, it's like people that are just about to go on holiday, for example, or people who are going through a wedding, or people that are looking to do something very soon, then in-market audience, you want to have a look at those audiences that you can advertise to. Because if you know the people that are going through that, you can advertise to those people exactly that moment in time when they're very much making that decision. And also, of course, remarketing. If people have already been to your website before, checked out your products, spent a few minutes on certain sales pages, you're going to want to remarket to them if they haven't yet bought, because they're really close to making a purchasing decision. Now, if your audience tend to share more common interests, they're not searching for you, or maybe they don't know you just yet, but your audience do share common interests. Maybe they're all into something like surfing, for example, or all into photography. Maybe they kind of all share that kind of common passion or common interest with each other. If that's the case and they're interested in what it is you potentially provide, then you've got similar audiences that can be very powerful. So if you've got your current email list, you can upload it to AdWords and build a similar audience there, rather like lookalike audience, and also of your pixels. So if you've got kind of your conversion pixels or you've got your remarketing pixels, you can build similar audiences there as well. Google will do it naturally for you, by the way. You've got affinity audiences that can be very powerful. So that's where Google will categorize people based on their behavior. If they're really into surfing, then the chances are they'll go to surfing websites, and as a result, there'll be an affinity audience based on that as well. Now, if there's not an affinity audience available to your business that doesn't seem to fit that well, you can build your own using custom affinity audiences as well. And there's actually a blog post on custom affinity audiences on the Digital Marketer blog, and so it's worthwhile checking that out because you can see how you would build that yourself if you wanted to build your own interest group. And likewise, you've also got channel placements as well. So let's say, for example, you wanted to advertise on all of Seth Godin's videos or all of these different GoPro videos or something along those lines. If you knew your audience were really into something, then you can advertise to channels that would typically have those videos. And as a result, you'll be getting in front of your customers in that way. But of course, remember, those people are interested and maybe not ready to buy. The people that are the people researching and doing their reviews, they're much closer to making a purchasing decision, but they're still doing their research, so you need to provide them with good value. And the people that are ready to buy, those people probably don't need quite so much convincing. They're already kind of ready to make a purchase, so use in-market audiences and remarketing to get in front of that audience so that they just get a push over the edge with that action and say, yep, cool, I'm ready to make a purchase, and make that as easy as possible for them. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you in a second how to build a keyword campaign. And I think it's a great campaign to build. I'm going to walk through it on my computer in just a second. I'll walk it through, make it really easy for you to follow along, because the great thing about this keyword campaign is that once you've built a keyword campaign, it's very easy to understand how you build other campaigns as well to use different targeting options. So I'll do that in just a minute with the live walkthrough. So let's go and build a campaign. See you in the next video.